funeral is about to begin, sir.
I think we just picked up Dracula. It's got a death curse!
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Welcome back to another episode of Never Not Horror Quick Cuts. Quick Cuts is our off-week episode where instead of doing a deep dive movie review, we do something else. And today it is going to be the next entry in the Horror by the Decades series. So if you followed along, we have ranked our top 13 favorite movies from each decade of horror, starting with the 20 teens, going back all the way to the 20s, which was a slightly different episode because I don't like silent movies, and we didn't really rank top. We just discussed 13. But before that, we did a top 13. So now there will be future episodes with the 2020s. But for now, we're going to close out this series with 2 more episodes, and this is the first of those where we are going to rank the decades. We have 10 decades that we've looked at and discussed, and we're going to put those in a top 10 of our least favorite to favorite. So I am Steve Clark.
I am Rich Hansel.
So as we do on Never Not Horror, before we get into our feature discussion, we like to talk a little bit about what we've been into horror related or horror adjacent. So I will kick us off here since Rich just walked through Hatchet, which was last week's episode. It was a really good time, fun movie, well worth your time if you're a horror fan. What have I been into horror related? I have watched 2 movies. So last time on Quick Cuts, I talked about a movie called Body Cam that had just come out on Shudder.
Yep.
The guy that directed that, I don't have his name off the top of my head, but he has done several Shudder movies, and one of his previous ones recently from last year, he did a movie called Night of the Reaper, which I had not seen yet. So I watched Night of the Reaper, and it is good. I liked it. It's a slasher movie of sorts, I guess. There is a masked killer, so I see they do some things to make it maybe not quite slashery, but overall I would call it a slasher. But it's a babysitter babysitting a kid, and a slasher is attacking kind of situation, but with a pretty cool twist. So I liked it quite a bit. It was well worth watching. No big names in it really that I recognized, but just a very solid Shudder movie. I enjoyed it. Well worth your time. Back in the day, it would have been a good video store rental kind of thing. So
okay, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I watched Night of the Reaper, which you can get on Shudder, and then I watched another movie that just came out on Shudder a week or so ago. I think it had a very limited run in theaters, but a movie called The Mortuary Assistant, and it is based on a video game that is like an indie horror game called The Mortuary Assistant. I've never played the game. I will when I catch it on sale again, though, because I'm intrigued by it. But basically, there's a little bit of Autopsy of Jane Doe DNA here, sort of. It's not nearly as good of a movie as the Autopsy of Jane Doe, because that's a great movie.
Yeah.
But it's about this girl she's like an apprentice at a mortuary, and she's kind of finished her training or whatever, and she gets called in to come in at night and do a couple autopsies on her own for the first time. And then weird shit starts happening, and it goes on from there. So definitely some influence from Autopsy of Jane Doe. But from what I read, the story of the video game plays pretty closely into what happens in the movie. So it was okay. I mean, it was worth watching. I'd probably never watch it again, to where I might watch Night of the Reaper again.
Yeah.
But okay. So those were the 2 new movies that I watched. As far as books go, I am still working on the second Talisman book, Stephen King and Peter Straub, Black House, which I have never read before. So it's getting good now. It's very, very slow to get into it. Have you ever read The Talisman?
I have not.
Okay. It's almost a fantasy, like more Dark Tower than more similar to Dark Tower stuff than.
I've never read a Peter Straub movie.
Me neither.
Book.
Me neither.
Not one.
other than The Talisman and now Black House, I've never read one either. And I don't, from what I'm gathering, I don't know if it's for me. I feel like maybe I tried one time, or maybe I just, do you know the movie? So one of maybe his most popular book is a book called Ghost Story, and they made a movie of it.
Yeah.
A movie called Ghost Story.
I've heard of it.
And I feel like I remember trying to watch that as a kid, and I just didn't get into it. But I'm sure I wasn't of the maturity level to get it either. But I don't know. I just don't know if his writing is for me. But when it's balanced with Stephen King, it worked. Because I really like The Talisman. That's a fun, epic kind of fantasy story that's sort of Dark Tower related. But with The Black House, the second book, which it recently announced the next Stephen King book is the third Talisman book called Other Worlds Than These, which is a very direct tie to the Dark Tower books. But Peter Straub passed away, so maybe a year or so ago. So I don't know how much he actually contributed to this before he passed away, or if this is more just a Stephen King book. But it's credited to both. But anyway, working on Black House, and it's very rough through the first. I'm listening to it, so maybe the first few hours very slow, but now it's starting to pick up and get pretty good. So I'm enjoying that. I mean, that's about it, really. Just got the couple things there. So what about you, Rich? What have you been into?
A movie we watched on Easter. Our whole family was together, so two of my sons and my daughter and my wife, we all sat down and watched a movie. When I talk about it and say what it's about, you'll say that's a horror movie, but it's more kind of action adventure too. But it's called Ready or Not.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
It was pretty good.
I like it.
When I watched it, when he was telling me about it, I thought, this isn't going to be good at all. But as we watched, I was like, man, that's good. And I think a Ready or Not 2 is
it's in theaters right now.
Oh, yeah. So we was going to buy that, and my son, Waylon, he said, well, let's watch Ready or Not. And I said, okay, we'll watch it, whatever. I'm probably not going to like it. I'll fall asleep. But I stayed awake the whole movie.
Samara Weaving. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of like some people that want to be whole family, they're very wealthy, and they got their wealth from what they think is like satanic, like they worship a demon or something, and they don't really know if it's from that or was they just successful. It really doesn't tell you throughout the movie, so they all believe it, but they play a game. Whenever somebody gets married, there is a game that's going to be played, and the person that is being married into the family draws a card, and it'll have the game that they're going to play. And all the games are just fun. It could be Scrabble or something like that.
Yeah.
But there is one that is not fun to play, and it's hide and seek. And they actually try to kill that person and give it to the satanic,
like a sacrifice.
Yeah, sacrifice to their whoever it is. I can't remember the name they use in it, but so this girl gets married to one of the sons, and she's got to
survive the
night, and they have to kill her before dawn, or the whole family will be wiped out by this demonic creature.
Yeah.
And still you don't know if it's real. And even some of the family members are like, I don't know if this is real, honey. I think this could be just fake. I think you guys could just be successful family. But it's funny.
It's funny. Yeah.
And it is graphic. A lot of good scenes in it, killing scenes. But it's definitely worth watching.
Absolutely, yeah. I really liked it.
So that's the only movie that I can think of that I watched other than Hatchet. Watched that a couple times for last week's episode. And then on Audible, I've been listening to Algernon Blackwood. If you don't know who he is, he's a very good horror author from I think it was in the 1800s, right? Or early 1900s.
Was he after Lovecraft?
I think he was before Lovecraft.
Really?
I think
in my mind he was before. I was after.
Say Lovecraft was inspired by Blackwood.
Algernon, I'm going to Google it here. He was born in 1869, died in 1951. Damn, he was like almost 90. Or no, he was 82. Okay, you're right. He's before. His first publication was in 1889.
Yeah.
And then he was in the early 1900s. So pretty much he was before Lovecraft, but they overlapped at a point. Yeah.
So two of his biggest books that I love the most, of course, they're both short stories, but one is The Wendigo, which is very, very good. And then that's probably his most famous one, I would think. But my favorite one, even more than that, and I've mentioned this on the podcast, is The Willows. And
you did, and I still need to listen to that.
That is a must,
or read it.
Must read or must listen to book there, The Willows. So good, so good. And it's 45-minute listen. It's not very long at all. So I've listened to both of those, and then there's a guy that's got a new audio book out on Audible or a lot of different places named Steve L. Clark.
What? That hack.
So I purchased that on Audible.
What'd you think?
It was The Doors of Chamberlain. I think, what's her, Katie Lake?
Mary Lake.
Mary Lake.
Mary Lake is the narrator.
My goodness, she did such a good job, and she uses her voice on each different character.
Yeah.
It's not the same voice, and she does such a good job at that.
I was really happy with her. Yeah,
I was really impressed with her. She did a fabulous job, and of course, the book is awesome.
Thank you.
Great job, buddy. I really like it. But it is kind of found footage a little bit.
It is.
Yeah. A girl. It starts with a younger lady that has lost her love of her life. He went on a ghost hunting venture with a YouTuber, I believe.
Yep.
And another guy that is a ghost hunter, Kane.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his last name.
Murdoch.
They go to the Chamberlain house, the Chamberlain Estates in Southwest Ohio, and
where we currently reside.
Where we do reside, and they go into this house, and things are not as they appear, and there may be some dark elements and different dimensions, and I don't want to give it away because it is definitely worth reading or listening to. I have done both. I've listened to it, and I have read it, and I am tickled that I get to know you and do a podcast with you.
Thank you, man.
So awesome. But yeah,
I appreciate it.
So I did Doors of Chamberlain, and I have started to read or listen to King Sorrow. I've started back mowing grass for the cemeteries.
Joe Hill.
Joe Hill's King Sorrow, which is Stephen King's son. And it's a very good book, really good character development. He does a good job, and I'm in the early stages. It is like a 26-hour listen, and I think I'm into the 23rd hour. Or I've got 23 hours left to go. So I've listened to 3 hours worth. But yeah, so far really good.
Very good book. I like it. One more thing. Well, I'll go ahead and do it now. We brought it up last week on the Hatchet episode, but the next episode of Quick Cuts will be our 1-year anniversary, which is going to be our Never Not Horror Hall of Fame induction episode. So if you missed it last time, we are inviting listeners of the podcast to be on the Hall of Fame committee. So if you are interested in casting your vote for the 4 movies from our list of nominees to make the Never Not Horror Hall of Fame, reach out to me, reach out to Rich, and we will get you the list of movies. And you are going to, as of right now, there are 9 that made the criteria to be on the ballot. Only 4 will make the Hall of Fame. I did forget to mention last week that, like baseball, movies that do not make it in but were on the ballot will be on the ballot again next year.
Yes.
But I think there needs to be a cap. I was thinking, Todd and I were talking, I think 3 years might be.
Yeah.
Which, who's to say how long we do this podcast? I mean, we're planning like it's going to go on forever. Maybe it will. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it will.
It might. But for now, if we're on year 4 of Never Not Horror, and there are the movies that were on the ballot from year 1 will not be eligible at year 4. So if they don't make it in the first 3 years of eligibility, then they're out. So we're keeping it a prestigious club, but you do get another 2 chances if you don't get in the first year. So So yeah, if you want to be a member of the committee and rank the 9 movies in your order of least favorite to favorite, and then we can add that to our totals to find out which 4 movies get the most points to make the Hall of Fame, let us know about it. So I won't go too much into it here, but if you're interested and you want more details, ask me, ask Rich, or listen to the Hatchet episode from last week, because I covered in a little more detail there. So
what do you think would be the best way to contact?
You can Facebook it probably, or if you know us in real life, just text us or message us on Messenger or whatever. But Facebook,
the Never Not Horror Facebook page.
Yep. Or just my Facebook page or Richie's Facebook page. My website does have a contact thing, so if you go to steveclarkbooks.com, you can send me a message on there. But any way you want to get me, in the event that you're not someone that knows us personally, but you are interested in casting your votes, do that. One of those ways, any way will work. And I will say, I am really excited. I'm nervous because selfishly, like, I want my 4 to make it, but I realistically, I know that's probably not going to happen. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what the voting public is going to think and which 4 are going to make it.
Yeah.
And like I said, as of right now, depending on next week, there will be one more deep dive review that'll be next week. So if that one does not have a cumulative 4.5 Howl rating, it will not make the list. So there are 9 movies that we've reviewed this year that did have a 4.5. So we will announce I'll send you the list of movies. We'll just announce it on the next Quick Cuts, like what movies made the ballot. But just having seen the list and sharing, like we've both seen it, it's not easy.
No, there are some bangers on there.
It is not easy to rank that list. So yeah, let us know if you want in on that. I've got some people in mind. Rich probably has some people in mind of that. I'm just you're gonna do it whether you want to or not. We're gonna force you to participate. So now for our feature presentation. The Horror by the Decades, we have done 10 episodes worth of ranking our top 13 movies from each decade. So now, just for shits and giggles of it, we're going to look at each decade and rank them from our least favorite to favorite. So it's not a top 13 because we only looked at 10. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a traditional top 10 episode. I think prior to this exercise of doing these rankings, there are certain decades that it was just like obvious, like, oh, that's going to be number 1, number 2, like the top ones. And I think for me, the top ones kind of held up, but I was definitely surprised at some that I wasn't super familiar with that became like, damn, that's really good. So
yeah,
like there's a lot of good stuff there that I just didn't know about. So it just makes me appreciate the whole process of doing the Horror by the Decade series and becoming a more well-rounded fan of horror.
Yeah,
and
really.
Just seeing movies that were it not for this podcast, I may never have gotten to it. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to watch, and it was always on the back of my mind, but never made the time to do it. And doing this has forced me into that, and it's been for the better because I've seen some movies that I really loved watching that I may never have seen were it not for this.
Same with me.
Yeah, so this has been an absolute success of a series as far as I'm concerned. But let's see where we fall ranking these 10 decades of horror. So it's been a minute since we've done a real ranking like this. So I'll go ahead and I'll kick us off since you just did the deep dive. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Coming in at number 10. And again, I will say we're horror fans. There is no decade of horror that's like, that all sucked. Like there's nothing good here. So it's really just, it's a least favorite to favorite. But my least favorite, there's great stuff there. So, and in my case, it should come as no surprise. My least favorite decade that we have covered is the 1920s. The silent movie era. Again, we talked about it on the last Quick Cuts at length, that much respect for what it did, the foundation that it laid, all the things. Like, I get it. We don't have what we have now without it. I mean, that is the beginning. It's the foundation, but I just struggle to get through them.
Yeah.
And just for me as a movie watcher, it's the ones that I'm least likely to go back to. So
Yeah.
this ranking was very difficult. This is probably the only one that wasn't difficult. It's like, that's the obvious number. Number 10 is the 1920s. So pretty easy. Least favorite decade of horror is the 1920s.
My turn, number 10. I'm right with you. I'm going to 1920s. Not that there's anything good on there, but probably the most popular one, the one that we think of, Nosferatu, full of controversy. I mean, they had to pull it.
Sure.
Just showing you there that this one wasn't even
technically allowed.
Yeah. They cheated their way into making this movie. But I mean, there was some bangers. The Man Who Laughs, The Lodger, which really blew me away. Just so good. I mean, when you think of Alfred Hitchcock, you think Psycho. You don't think The Lodger. I mean, but amazing movie. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, The Cat and the Canary. Those come to mind to me. But there is a lot of them that was really, really rough for me to watch. Really hard to watch. I couldn't get into it. A lot of characters back then, it seemed like. I mean, tons and tons of characters in these films. But yeah, 1920s, again, I appreciate it. But as a whole, it is going to fall at my number 10 position.
Just to give it a little more love, and we've done this before, but we talk about him a lot. Todd, fan of the show, he posted his top 13 of the silent era on YouTube.
Okay.
And I'll run through it here for us, because there's some in here that we did not talk about. Most of them we did. Real quickly, I'll run through it here. His number 13 was one that we did not discuss, The Haunted Castle from 1921.
Huh.
Number 12 was Waxworks, which was one of mine that I was supposed to watch and didn't. Number 11 was The Monster, which you watched.
Yep.
Number 10 was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Number 9, The Golem, How He Came into the World, which was one of mine. So number 8, The Man Who Laughs, all the way at number 8.
Wow. I really like that one.
Yeah. Number 7, The Lodger, The Story of the London Fog. So 8 and 7 were your 1 and 2. Number 6, The Hands of Orlok.
Yep.
Number 5, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Number 4, The Bells from 1926, which I think, I'm wanting to say that might have The Bells 1926. I think it might have Boris Karloff in it. The Bells 1926 is a silent crime film starring Lionel Barrymore as a guilt-ridden innkeeper who murders a wealthy traveler for money, only to be tormented by the sound of sleigh bells and hallucinations, with Boris Karloff appealing as a mesmerist who arrives in town.
Huh.
So yeah, The Bells.
I might watch that one.
And then so his top 3, number 3, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Number 2, The Phantom of the Opera. Number 1, Nosferatu.
There you go. Nosferatu.
So showing some love to the 1920s. All right. So we are now to number 9, where it gets not so obvious. And again, like for me, these got hard, man. None of these were really easy. Like I flipped this list around several times. But coming in for me at number 9 is the 1940s. Highlighted, like my top 3 were The Body Snatcher, which was a first time watch that I absolutely adored. The Wolfman, which is a classic. Dead of Night, which was a really fun anthology movie. The Mummy's Hand, The Mummy's Tomb, the sequels. Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman sequel. Really good stuff. And it just goes to show that my number 9 has a lot of great movies on it. So I think overall, maybe what held this back was just my unfamiliarity with the 40s, where this was the decade that when we had to do our top 13, I'd only ever seen one movie. I think just not having the repeat viewings and having this stuff ingrained in my mind made it fall down to second to last on the list. But in this moment right now, for me, my number 9 is the 1940s.
All right, this one, my number 9 is probably going to surprise some people, and it might piss off some people, but my number 9, and I had this at 7 before, and just today, I had it at number 7, but I got to thinking at what I had at number 9. I said, I don't think I like this as much as what I have there. So I flip flopped them. So my number 9 is going to be the 1990s.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah,
all right.
I mean, of course, I had Flatliners, Bram Stoker's Dracula, The Blair Witch Project, Exorcist 2, and my number 1 was The Silence of the Lambs, which I love all those movies. And again, like you, I mean, it's not a bad decade.
Yeah.
It's not that it's bad, but
none of these are bad. That's the thing. Like,
I just hold a couple of the other decades a little higher, but not by much. I mean,
I do believe you meant Exorcist 3.
Yes,
also.
I said Exorcist 2. Yeah, Exorcist 3. George C. Scott. Yeah. So the 1990s, surprisingly to me, was number 9.
Okay. All right. My number 8 now is going to be the 2000s, which was sort of, I don't know, kind of surprised, but not really, because I guess if anything, it's just because I was in my 20s in the 2000s, or late teens and 20s. So these are the movies that were kind of coming up. And there's great movies here. Like my highlights here, we did our rankings: Exorcism of Emily Rose, 1408, Paranormal Activity, which we did a deep dive of, Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses, Shaun of the Dead, 30 Days a Night, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Like, there's some great, really good stuff here. Just overall looking at it and comparing it, like, it's so hard. I mean, it's like, think of your favorite band that has a huge catalog and you love so many albums. It's like, rank those albums. It feels shitty to put something slow when you really like a lot of the stuff, but as for our purposes here, I put the 2000s in at number 8.
All right, my number 8 is going to be, this is a rough one too, the 2010.
The teens, all right.
Yeah, we had, of course, Hell House, LLC, 10 Cloverfield Lane, Terrifier, which I absolutely adore, The Witch, Sinister, and my number 1 of the 2010s was The Conjuring. And great movies, really good movies. They're kind of in this mental decade, I think, where it's more of a thinker man's,
like psychological horror,
not so much slasher and gore. I mean, other than Terrifier, obviously, but I loved them. I loved all those movies I mentioned. Obviously, they were in my top 13s, but number 8 is the 2010.
All right. So we are now to number 7, and my number 7 is gonna be. At this point, it just gets harder and harder as we go. Like, we keep making excuses for every pick. Like, I'm sorry, but my number 7 is going to be the 1960s.
Ooh.
So, the 1960s, for me, highlighted by Night of the Living Dead. Basically, the birth of my favorite genre of movie. But you also had Rosemary's Baby, Psycho, Spider Baby, which was the first time watch that I really liked, really enjoyed. The Last Man on Earth, one of my favorite Vincent Price movies. Village of the Damned, and then a bunch of stuff that, like, the Vincent Price, this is like the tail end, maybe not the tail end, but not the beginning of the Vincent Price stuff. So you got Pit and Pendulum, all the Poe movies, House of Usher, and all that stuff. So really good stuff. Really enjoyed it. Coming in a number 7, I mean, Night of the Living Dead is one of my favorite movies of all time. But just I'm looking at these as a whole, like a top 13 package. If I have to sitting down and watch all 13 movies in a row, this is where this one comes in. So for me, number 7 is the 1960s.
All right, my number 7 is one that you've already mentioned. I think you had it at 9. It is the 2000s. That
was my 8.
Your 8, okay. It is my number 7. Of course, like you mentioned, The Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses. Love those 2 movies. Yeah. And then another big banger from that decade was Jeepers Creepers, right at the beginning of the decade. I love Jeepers Creepers, but after that, man, it was kind of a struggle in the 2000s to me, really. But I think for me, Jeepers Creepers, The Devil's Rejects, and House of Thousand Corpses really boosted that up past the 20s, the teens, and the 90s for me.
I get it. I get it. So, what are we, number 6?
Yep.
My number 6 is going to be one you've already done. It is the 20 Teens. So, headlined, of course, by my, you could argue, absurd love of Hell House LLC. Really love that movie. But Hell House LLC, It Chapter 1, It Follows were my top 3. But you also, like you said, 10 Cloverfield Lane, you got VHS kicked off then.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
The Autopsy of Jane Doe was then. The Evil Dead remake, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah. There's
just
some bangers
really
there.
great stuff. Like, to me, there's more in this decade that are just really fun, into it horror stuff versus the 2000s of the two. But so yeah, coming in and really between Hell House and It Chapter 1, like those two kind of hammered at home that is my number 6.
All right. My number 6 is going to be the 1940s.
All right.
And obviously my favorite actress movie of all time is The Wolfman with Evelyn Akers and Lon Chaney Jr.
Yep.
I know I've beat the dead horse there, but another movie that hit me flat square in the face that I had never seen until this podcast. You'd mentioned it, The Body Snatcher. Oh my gosh, I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
You had Weird Woman, I Married a Witch, Frankenstein versus Wolfman. You mentioned The Mummy's Hand. So yeah, but The Wolfman and The Body Snatcher really, really stand out on there. And to me, both of those movies are 5 Howl movies. Easily 5 Howl movies for me.
Yeah.
So number 6 is the 1940s.
All right. So that gets us into the top 5. And for me, coming in at number 5 is going to be the 1950s. So this was a decade that I had seen a fair bit, but wasn't super familiar with. But there's just some in here that are just undeniable. Like,
yeah.
I mean, House on Haunted Hill, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Horror of Dracula, House of Wax, The Mummy, The Hammer Mummy, Curse of Frankenstein, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original one. I mean, there's some really good stuff here. And this one, for me, it was interesting because pre this exercise, when we talked about it when we did the 50s ranking, like, I just kind of think of that era as the giant monster, the atomic monster, the big ants, and all the shit.
Them.
Yeah, and it really isn't. I mean, that's the end of the decade is the birth of Hammer horror.
Yeah,
I absolutely hear the debate to compare the Hammer horror and the Universal horror.
Absolutely.
Like, which one is? Yeah, I mean, that might be a quick cut.
Anybody that doesn't think there's a debate there.
You're not being honest.
You are not being honest, or you haven't seen them, or really watched those.
I totally get the nostalgia for the 30s. I mean, I love the Universal. I mean, you do more than I do. You're a bigger fan than me. But as far as just one to the other,
Terrence Fisher is an amazing director. He got the best out of a lot of actors.
I'm not going to say which, I mean, it's totally up to interpretation on which you prefer, but you cannot say that Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney Jr. going up against Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an even fight.
It really
is. It's not a pushover. So really good stuff in the 50s. Probably the biggest surprise decade for me that I was just like, damn, there's a lot of good shit here. So that's my number 5, the 1950s.
My number 5 is the 1950s. Just like you. Again, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Horror of Dracula. My gosh, I could watch that over and over and over again and enjoy it more and more each time I see it. House on Haunted Hill, like you mentioned, I love. Is probably one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yep.
And then one that you didn't mention that I know it wasn't your favorite movie of all time, but it's one of my favorite movies is The Thing from Another World. I absolutely love that movie. So can't say. I mean, you summed it up right there. The 1950s had those Terrence Fisher Hammer horror, the beginnings of that. Man, man, oh man. So yeah, number 5, I Mirror You, the 1950s.
Oh yeah. All right, we are to the top 4. So with 4 left, there are 3 decades that neither of us have said. So there's one overlap here, which I'm sure I can't imagine that our top 3 are not the same, potentially in a different order. But
yeah,
so we'll go ahead and do it. My number 4 is the 90s. I was a child of the 90s, so I just have a lot of attachment to these movies. But you had the Blair Witch Project, Misery, Scream, Stir of Echoes, Tremors, From Dusk Till Dawn, the Night of the Living Dead remake. Like, they're just flatliners. Yeah, so many of these movies. Candyman was the 90s. Like, just and I was born in 83, and I started young as a horror fan. So from the 90s, I was age 7 to 17.
Yeah, was Tremors in the 90s?
Yeah, Tremors was in the 90s. Yep. Yeah. So much good stuff. So this was the stuff I grew up watching older horror, obviously. I mean, 70s and 80s. If you're a horror fan, you're going to see that stuff. But the 90s was the new horror that was happening as I was growing up.
Sure.
So for me, I just have a lot of attachment to a lot of these movies and some of my favorite movies of all time, for sure. So number 4 is the 1990s.
My number 4, you've already mentioned. It is the 1960s.
Yep.
Spider Baby. I love that movie. Lon Chaney Jr., one of my favorites. Psycho. Come on. Rosemary's Baby. And my number 1 from that decade was The Witchfinder General. Vincent Price. My favorite Vincent Price movie of all time.
Which I still haven't seen it yet.
Very good movie. I highly recommend that. And, of course, the Night of the Living Dead.
Yep, absolutely.
So my number 4 is the 1960s.
Very good. So I'm not surprised that we come into our top 3 with the same 3 decades remaining. We've got the 30s, 70s, and 80s in chronological order. So the question is, what order do they fall for us? I'm going to wager that ours are not going to be identical.
I think you're right. I think they'll be a little different.
But we'll see. My 3rd favorite decade of horror is the 1930s. So what do you say? I mean, it's it's the Universal era. Like, you got Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, and then you got the Old Dark House and Freaks. And for me, Freaks and Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde were 1 and 2, both first watches that just blew me away. So such a deep decade. There's so much to enjoy out of it.
Yeah.
And yes, the 20s was really the dawning of horror cinema as we know it. But the 30s is really where it really takes off, I think. And what we know now, it was planted in the 20s, but the first sprouts of it was the 30s, I guess, if you want to use that analogy. But it's great stuff.
Yeah.
Just absolutely.
And I think it is a testament to that decade especially for a guy as young as you are, to have a decade full of nothing but black and white movies.
Yeah.
Be your number 3 decade of all time.
And I wonder, to bullshit here, but like that the very first horror movie I ever remember watching is Night of the Living Dead, which is a black and white movie. So I don't know if that changed my tolerance for black and white, but yeah, that doesn't bother me in the slightest.
I guarantee there is a group of people out there much younger than us that treats black and white movies probably like we treat silent movies.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, I'm sure there's some 70, 80, 90-year-old folks out there, 100-year-old folks that are saying, what are you talking about? The silent era was the best era.
Right.
And you can't argue with that.
Right.
That's what they saw coming out.
Back in my day, we went to the stage play at the theater.
So number 3
That was my number 3 was the 30s.
All right, here we go. My number 3, and I can't believe I'm doing this. The 1930s.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well, hell, we might have the same top 3.
when I started this, I thought for sure the 1930s were going to be my number 1, but I just couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
The other two decades, obviously, we have the 70s and 80s where they fall in line. It doesn't matter, but that's what's remaining. I couldn't put the 30s over it. But again, Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, King Kong, M. Todd turned us on to M.
Oh, yeah. M was so good.
Really good movie. And Peter Lorre, I really didn't know much about him. Now I've watched 3 or 4 movies that he's been the star in.
Mm-hmm. Creepy bastard.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, 1930s, awesome decade. And I would probably say that this is my most watched decade. I think I watched those movies probably more than any other day. Probably, arguably, I might be able, if I punch the numbers in, I might watch movies from the 1930s more than all the other decades combined. For real. That's how much I watch Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy.
Yeah.
I watch them all the time. And I usually don't watch them all the way through. I usually fall asleep.
Yeah.
But it is my bedtime movies. I
get
love
it.
them. But yeah, number 3, same as you, is the 1930s.
Wow. I thought you were going to have that at least number 2.
I thought I was going to have it number 1.
Yeah. Okay, so that opens the door then. We may have the exact same top 3. We have the 70s and 80s left. I'm sure every decade probably has its dedicated few, but I think generally speaking, the majority of longtime horror fans would have 70s and 80s as 1 and 2. Just what's the order?
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, obviously, we love all these decades of horror. So now that we're getting to our top 2, I mean, these are just, it's like 1A, 1B, just the absolute cream of the crop. Like, they're just, this was decades of decadence of just, you're eating good in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
But for me, coming into number 2 is going to be the 1970s.
Nice.
Despite having my all-time favorite movie, Dawn of the Dead in 1978, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 1974. Shit. I mean, Halloween. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Phantasm, The Exorcist, Black Christmas, The Amityville Horror, Carrie, Salem's Lot. Like,
are you kidding me?
Jesus, man, there's so many great movies. But just, I mean, somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to be number 1. Right. So when I looked at the whole 13 versus the 13 from the 80s, I gave the slight edge to the 80s. But yeah, I mean, some of the greatest movies I've ever seen were made in the 1970s, and that's the greatest movie. My all-time favorite movie is from the 70s. So, yeah, I mean, it's just is what it is. And I'm gonna guess that you agree. Maybe I'm wrong.
What you're gonna do? You're gonna guess
I think your number 2 is the 70s.
Well, Steve, you know me very well, because my number 2 is the 1970s. You mentioned, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, my favorite, all-time favorite
just
horror
like
movie.
me having your all-time favorite is 70s movie.
Yep. You mentioned Dawn of the Dead, Amityville Horror, The Exorcist, Halloween, Jaws, for Pete's sake, Jaws. Right. That's in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, along with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So 2 of my top 5 greatest movies of all time come out of the 1970s. I had to go with, of course, we know what it is.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, obviously both of our number 1s. We both are 1980s guys. Yep. So the 1980s is coming in at my number 1 and Rich's number 1. When we did our list, my top ranks were Evil Dead, The Shining, Day of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, Creepshow, The Thing, Friday the 13th 1 and 2, Silver Bullet, Christine, Nightmare on Elm Street, Pet Sematary. Like, just such a so influential to. I mean, you got the peak of Stephen King stuff.
Yeah,
you got the end of the George Romero first trilogy, the birth of the 80s slasher. I mean, it's just
my number one movie from the 80s.
Lost Boys.
The Lost Boys, yeah.
Which didn't even make my 13, despite the chagrin of my brother.
Yeah,
but I love Lost Boys. Like that just goes to show, like, to where there were decades when we did our rankings where I was putting stuff at 11, 12, 13 that I didn't care much for. When with the 80s, I've got movies that I really, really like that didn't make the top 13. And not many decades have that.
Yeah. Just having, I think, was 4 or 5 of the Friday the 13th in the 80s. I know 1, 2, 3, and 4 were. Was 5 in the 80s still? Was that like 88, 89?
I think so. I'll find out.
But I do know in my top 13, I had Friday 13th, Friday 13th Part 2, and Part 3, all in my top 13 of the 80s, and that is by far my favorite
slasher series.
Horror series is Nightmare or Friday 13th, and then I mentioned on my notes Nightmare on Elm Street, Day of the Dead, Evil Dead, Silver Bullet. But yeah, 80s. Of course, I was born in 73, so this is right, kind of like your 90s, you know.
So, even more than you thought, all the way up to Friday the 13th, Part 8. Wow, Jason Takes Manhattan was 1989.
Still in the 80s.
The first 90s Friday the 13th was Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
Damn.
So 1 through 8 was from 8. I mean, let's see, 81. Almost every year had one. Every year except for 83 and 87 in the 90s had a Friday the 13th. So yeah. That damn near the majority of that whole series was the 80s.
That's amazing. And I love Friday the 13th.
I do too.
I love him. Jason Voorhees forever.
All right. Well, yeah. So we are in agreement all through the end. And I don't think that's, like I said, 70s, 80s, 30s. Probably commonly the top 3, and for us it matched up.
Yeah,
but I expected, if I would have had to guess yours, I would have said your top 3 was 70s, 30s, 80s.
Okay.
I did think you were going to go 80s number 1, but I thought 30s would come in at number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did too. I honestly did too. But when I really started thinking about it and looking at the catalog of movies from the 70s and 80s, I said, I just can't do it. I got to.
No, I get it.
Put them in
so much good shit.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that'll wrap that. Like I said, so the next quick cuts will be our anniversary episode. The quick cuts after that will be Horror by the Decades, ranking the century, basically. So it'll be our top 13 of all the movies we've covered on our top 13. So
that's going to be rough.
I've already done my list, but I've already changed it once. So
yeah, it could change again.
It absolutely could. The top half of it's pretty set, but the bottom half is totally in flux. All right. So next week will be one more deep dive review before we get to our Quick Cuts Hall of Fame episode. So I have a couple in mind. And so I have 3. I have 3 movies in mind.
I wonder if I've ever seen them.
I know you've seen 2 of the 3. One of them I have never seen. It's a new movie that just hit streaming, but I've heard good things about. So that one kind of popped onto my radar. But the other 2, I know you have seen. Which way do I want to go? Because, I mean, obviously we can... The 2 that I know you have seen, I think we'll do eventually anyway. I'm going to stick to my guns. I had one in mind coming up to this recording that I wanted to do next. Something changed my mind or suggested something else, but I'm going to stick with the original. So for our next deep dive review, I am going to pick a movie that I know you've seen and I've seen. But I want to do it because it will feed into future quick cuts. So back at Halloween time, we did the deep dive review of VHS Halloween.
Yeah.
I want to do I eventually I want to do a quick cuts of our top 13 VHS segments.
Yeah.
But to make sure we do our diligence, we kind of need to deep dive all the VHS movies.
Sure.
So I think next week I want to do the original VHS part 1.
Nice.
So
it's been a while.
Yeah, and me too. It's been a minute since I've seen the original. I remember it fondly. Like I think 1 and 2 are kind of popularly the best ones.
I is the first VHS the one where they're looking for the VHS tape and the dead guy sitting in the chair? Okay.
That's the wraparound.
That was scary as shit.
Yeah. So that's what I want to do.
Good.
Yeah. So next week will be a deep dive review of the original VHS.
Nice.
And I know that one is streaming on one of the popular streamers, like either Peacock or Hulu or one of those. So it's out there for sure. So if you enjoyed the show, please like, rate, review, do what you do on your podcast platform of choice. Tell your friends about Never Not Horror and help us get out there. If you want to follow us outside of the show, go to youtube.com and search for Rich Hansel. You can find his channel. You can go to steveclarkbooks.com and find my website and all the links to my book stuff. So yeah, next week will be a deep dive review of VHS, and then we'll be coming back with our year-end anniversary Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which is going to be a really fun episode. I can't wait to do that.
So are we doing the top 13 also?
No.
That'll be
the following.
Okay.
So we will wrap the Horror by the Decades with our top 13 of the century, basically. That'll be the next episode after the Hall of Fame induction anniversary episode. And it's funny too, like we're a year in now, coming up on it. So many movies that I just would have assumed we would have covered by now, but we haven't. And so many movies that, I mean, if you would have told me in the beginning, in the first year, we're going to cover Hatchet and Leprechaun and Christmas Evil and VHS and right when there's so many, but I mean horror is a mood thing. Like what sounds fun to watch right now, and for me, VHS sounds fun. So we're gonna do that. But all right, spread the word, tell your friends, and come back next week where whatever it is, it's never not horror.
Oh yeah.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.